I'm not sure who started this conversation about Damon not having the ability to bust. We're trying to keep it YouTube friendly here, but not being able to perform. But let me be the first one on YouTube.com to say this is all fake news, anti-Damon propaganda, just to make our perfect, rogue prince look badly.
Oh, dude, absolutely. I understand in the show, we kind of get that implication from Rhea Royce, his first wife, but it's not that Damon can't perform. He can perform. He chooses not to. This is Damon retention. This is Damon's semen retention grind set. He's been on it for literally decades. And honestly, no one pays him the respect he deserves for it in this fandom. They don't understand the fruits that it's reaped.
Yeah, totally agree. And when you were saying he chooses not to bust, it reminds me of the Seinfeld episode of Jerry saying, I refuse to race.
Oh, dude.
Which also then reminds me that we used to put out Seinfeld clips of House of the Dragon, which we might insert right here if we have time.
Air for a day. Did you say it?
Oh, yeah, dude. I was just going through my computer, and I just sent you one last week, an old one. I was like, dude, this is gold. This is gold. We got to start it up again. Anyway, yeah. So, Damon, dude, how do you want to approach this?
Okay, well, I think there's two big reasons why Damon won't bust inside of a woman. One being he wants to fight with some person, and that's worthy, right? Also, he believes in Targaryen supremacy, so unless you got the blood of the dragon running through your veins, I don't think he's dropping the load in.
I agree with that. I think that comes up later more so than even with Rhea Royce, because I think there is that aspect, but I'm not sure it's like on the surface at this point yet. I think that early in Damon's life, he decided to do this, and I'm not even sure he knew exactly why he wanted to, but there's a lot of like real world and meta things that you could reference. I don't know if this research is still valid, but at one point, there was good medical research that showed that if you do hold back and you retain your semen, man, I think it's on like day 7 or 8, your testosterone peaks. Your testosterone peaks. And then after that point, you don't really see a whole lot of benefit from there. You either maintain that new elevated normal or you go down a little bit, but it's still elevated. And again, that might be outdated science, but at one point that was true, and it's always going to be true to me. I think there's other reasons too. I think Damon, it's mental conditioning. Humans thrive through struggle. We know this. If people don't have a purpose in life or a passion, they end up kind of dwindling away. I mean, what's the reason why we go to the gym and work out, right? We put our bodies through stress and pain because it gives us that dopamine hit in the end, and you don't necessarily need to finish to get that. You know what I'm saying? Plus, high testosterone keeps the mind sharp in general. And lastly, dude, well, not lastly, but the last thing I'll say right now is this is really the only way to fully eliminate the possibility of yourself falling into simpage in life. If you train yourself to never associate a sexual act with like the dopamine hit of like, finishing or whatever you want to say, right? Like you're just going to train yourself to associate that with like frustration or whatever. And it's a great grind set to be on, man. It keeps you focused.
Well, he definitely gets like the most done when he's holding it in, right? So canonically within House of the Dragon, we're mostly going off the TV show because in the books, it's all based off of other people's, depiction of what happened, like Mushroom and
not a lot to work with.
The Maester, right? Yeah. So if we just go off the TV show, we're just going off the TV show. Damon, it looks like he never drops his load on anybody. He struggles a little bit with his White Worm and Rhea Royce, or at least Rhea Royce made it sound like he did. But he's getting the most done when he's not dropping his load, and I don't even think it's because he even wanted to do it with Rhea Royce too, right? Like, there's a couple red flags when it comes to her. She is a crazy horsewoman, which, true story, the only wife beater I've ever met in my life was a horse lady, and generally horse ladies are crazy. Also, someone in the comments who was also a horse lady confirmed this in one of our, I think it was our Laena video, because we were talking about how Laena
it was Laena. We appreciate you. Thank you for being honest.
Yeah, and my other theory about Damon not wanting to, bed Rhea Royce is she might be a, another Seinfeld reference here, but she might be a two-facer, She looks good because she didn't look bad when we saw her in the daylight of, I think that's episode 5 of House of the Dragon. She didn't look bad at all, but she might look a lot grosser in the bedroom.
Oh, yeah, dude, you have no idea. And Damon has been there, by the way. He has been with her sexually. It's just a matter of, in her mind, or in her words, he couldn't perform or whatever. But I think that's just her being salty a little bit, too, that he chose not to. I think that's all that is, maybe coaxing him into it because, at least from my experience, women want it to happen for you. You know what I mean? It's kind of like an ego boost for them. So I don't blame her a little bit for being salty. Dude, if I was with Damon and I didn't make him finish, I'd feel a little bit upset. Like, why am I not worthy? Yeah. I'm blonde. I have blondish hair, I guess, whatever. But I agree. Rhea Royce, dude, there's something messed up about her. It's hard to say exactly what it is. And we know that Damon went to the Vale and he was immediately bored by the Vale. But right. I forget the exact text. I was in Fire and Blood. I don't know exactly word for word, but it was. The impression I got is not that he immediately hated her. It's like he quickly became unimpressed with her. And maybe that's related to just being, whatever. But she must have done something, right? Like, I don't know if he found out she was vegan or kept quoting The Office or something, but she seems pretty basic like that. I mean, she's a horse girl, right? How annoying would that be?
I mean, for someone to be like, I only ride horses, and he's like, yeah, I have a dragon. Would you want to ride that? And she's like, no, I'm just a horse girl.
A dragon.
It's just so cringe. Yeah, and I think it's safe to say she comes across more as a softball player than she does anything else. She has very tomboy-like features, which might mean she might just hit for the other team for this whole time. We just don't. She just want to come out and say it,
I think that might be true too. And I think the moment when she dies in the show. So in the books, she just literally hits her head on a rock, by happenstance, and Damon's not involved whatsoever. And then she's sick for a while and then dies. Right. But in the show, they just straight up show that Damon played a part of it. And I think that whole
played a part, but he did not kill her. Go ahead.
No, he did not kill her. But I think that whole interaction where he basically used his, pre-nut fog mental domination powers, on her. Just but his turn from delusion to a mastery of the elements. Because you see what he's able to do? God, what's the reference I'm trying to think of right now? Hold on.
Explain it to me.
I guess, you know what? I can't think of the exact reference, but it's like the agents in the Matrix fighting Neo pre and post when he realizes he's the one. The last time Rhea Royce saw Damon, he's just regular Neo. Sure, he's a really capable guy, but he's still acting out and he's still frustrated or whatever. Now when she sees him, he's coming there. He doesn't need to say a single word. He stares her down. He has complete control of his surroundings. He dominated. Right. He willed her to the ground. He did not kill her. She did that to herself. He basically exploited her. He hardened his heart.
I think she needs to be completely blind or slow in the head to think that she can talk like this to Damon and she's not going to have any sort of consequences to her. Her horse had better sense than she did because she's just basically talking him down, knowing we're in the middle of nowhere. You have a dragon. You're also a man that is a great swordsman, so I have every disadvantage to myself. What could I possibly do to you? So I don't know what in her thought process, what possibly her two brain cells rubbing up against each other were thinking, but if that's just par for the course for her, I can understand why Damon wanted to get the hell out of there and why he'd rather insert into a sheep than her.
Well, so do I. When they're prettier than her anyway, so I hear.
Yeah.
I think this example shows though that he's not a wife beater, right? Because like you say, she has the balls to talk to Damon this way. That tells me that he definitely wasn't violent with her in the past. Damon gets a bad rap, okay? He really does in the situation, but just like you said, you don't blame Damon for trying to get out of this thing. This is where Mysaria comes in. The second example of his major
Mysaria or Mysaria?
Mysaria. I don't know. It's the E
Mysaria.
and the A. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
I believe.
Whatever. Just call her the White Worm.
She's the White Worm. Damon basically makes her his paramour when he's at Flea Bottom, getting familiar with all the other women, a.k.a. leveling up in his semen retention grind set, which is amazing. And by the way, side note here, he becomes captain of the City Watch, and suddenly the City Watch is improved, and the crime goes down in the city by 95%. Dude, he absolutely has all of these guys in on his grind set, and it's unlocked Chad mode. You know what I mean? All their lives are improved. It's like George not having sex in Seinfeld, to make another reference, right? He just levels up to the max. Yes. And that's probably why they're so loyal to Damon, too. My whole life, I haven't known anything except lust. And now I know there's so much more to life. As a celibate, well, not necessarily celibate, but I don't let it out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he definitely put the brakes to it. And also, he added the drip of the gold cloaks, right? Before that, they were just a city watch, and now he's everyone's going to fear the color gold, which is what an awesome scene. But yeah, him and his boys, the hounds out there just barking, wanted to get after it. And it's, quickly just go back to Rhea Royce here, but if she had any idea the amount of excess circumcision Damon was doing in Flea Bottom, she would not probably be speaking the way she would be in that one, whatever you want to call it, that passing where she passed away. But yeah, Mysaria, the White Worm, a.k.a. the worst nickname ever. Who gave you that nickname? Why would you ever claim that nickname? Like,
I know.
every
I mean, listen,
worm
Lady
character
Misery
in fantasy sucks, right? Worm tail, worm tongue, white worm. Come on, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. She's not read up on her high fantasy, I guess, but you're 100% right. That name is indicative of a shitty character. But the reason I bring her up in comparison to Rhea Royce is I think that Damon, as we know, this is books, so the show kind of left this out a little bit, or at least they left it a little more ambiguous. But in the book, Damon did impregnate her.
Yes,
you know,
in the
he
book.
did. He did impregnate her. But I don't think that he busted. I don't think that he finished. I think that Damon is possibly the yes, we'll get there. I think he's basically the only human alive in Westeros that's aware of like the LFS pandemic. LFS meaning leaky faucet syndrome. Because these guys, they're like horses, man.
Do you need the shorthand for that? Like,
oh, dude. You do now. LFS Awareness Month. That's me.
Oh, yeah. Make an LFS post here real quick.
Yeah, add it to the Westeros wiki. LFS is common infliction in Westeros, but not Essos. But, yeah, dude, I think he's the only one who's aware because he's having sex with Mysaria. He knows, or Mysaria, whatever. He knows he needs a way out with Rhea Royce. He's not a wife beater. He's not violent towards women that we know of. Not yet. He doesn't want to do that. Plus, it's going to hurt his standing with his brother, too, if he openly, kills his wife. So he's got to think of a way out. Okay, what if I impregnate another woman? Maybe she'll leave me kind of situation. And so he's having sex, and he just strategically just squirts out a little pre. And as we know, that's all it takes. And he was able to maintain that high T level grind set. Seaman, yes. I think that's exactly what happened. And it didn't work out super well because the kid ended up being miscarried and Viserys, King V, he didn't play ball. But I do think that was the intention.
Well, in the books, too, he sends her... I think she goes to Essos. She goes across the Narrow Sea on a bumpy ship ride, and then it miscarries. So maybe that was also Damon's plan all along of, you know what, maybe I made a mistake, busting inside or like slight bust, which also fellas out there listening to this, which is predominantly fellas listening to this, you need to warn your woman or man when you're about to pre. You got to say something.
Yeah.
I'm about to pre.
I'm going to pre. It happens really early on, so.
Yeah, and you should know when that threshold hits. Damon does. But yeah, I don't understand why Damon's even with this girl. I understand for the grind set purposes of, hey, I'm going to be with some person who's like top of the chain of a brothel. So I'm going to be surrounded by all this stuff, but I'm still going to retain my semen the whole time, right? Like he's going to maintain all of it and not actually give out any of it except for a little bit. But yeah, that's a smart idea. But Mysaria, she has like no personality. She sounds like she like bit her tongue when she was talking, She had this is just the TV show, of course.
Dude,
right?
yeah.
She sounds like Damon lost a bet. That's why he's with her. That's what mostly I feel like.
Listen, he hangs out in those I guess they're brothels, right, all the time. Why wouldn't he lose a bet with one of the gold cloaks, dude? He seems like a bro. And plus, dude, Damon, I'm not saying he's super honorable, but if he lost a bet, I bet he'd pay his debt. And if that bet was, be with this girl, I bet he'd still do it. I would hope so. I think highly of him in that regard. She definitely sounds like she's got peanut butter in her mouth at all times. You ever seen that Sprite commercial? Have you ever seen that with, oh no, it's not Sprite. Is it Sprite? No, I don't know why it's Sprite. I think it's just a peanut butter commercial with Ludacris in it. He puts some peanut butter in his mouth. He starts rapping. It's exactly what it sounds like. The only explanation is the losing of the bet, because why would he pick her over any of the other prostitutes in Flea Bottom? We know from Fire and Blood that he like made himself familiar with every whore down there or something like that, And he retained his seed with all of them. But why pick the White Worm? She's like, dude, she's got Christmas lights hanging in her room. She's got a tie-dye rug hanging on there like it's a tapestry. She does tarot cards, astrology, incense. Like she dated a SoundCloud rapper. That's her. That's her. Why is our boy with her? Why did he choose her?
Well, maybe she said I'm into incense, and he thought it was incest, and he was like, oh.
Yeah, we got a lot
you
of
don't say. So do you want to go into the one he actually busts in here now?
The last thing I'll say about the Mysaria and even the prostitute thing in general, too, is I think, aside from the semen thing, I think he's kind of a good guy for the economy of Flea Bottom and King's Landing in this way, because if you're holding in your seed, you could actually patronize like how many brothels and see how many prostitutes in one night. You know what I mean? You're not going to be spent or whatever. So yeah, he's kind of like a wealthy patron of small local businesses. It's pretty good. Like how many could, let's say he's busy 6 out of the 7 days of the week, right? But he really cares about this public service. He could spend that whole 7th day, as opposed to getting like maybe 1 or 2 done in a night like a normal person. He could go 10, 12, 20. Imagine all the gold he'd be showering these brothel owners with. Like it's good for the economy. I think it's good in all ways.
Yeah, and also the only reason why he had the confidence to say the air for a day is because he was on such a grind set for so long, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, you don't say that unless you're feeling yourself, and that T level is just so high. The same T level that leads, bodybuilders to beat their wives' brains up against the wall till they paint the whole wall with their brains. That's the same level, right?
Yeah, dude, absolutely. Like, your body heat is actually raised up. You don't see any consequences of your actions. And by the way, dude, if Kings V's my brother, I mean, I'm going to be like 95% confident there won't be any consequences anyway. It's actually amazing he got punished at all because of how much of a pushover King V is. We love King V, but listen, if that was Viserys III in that position, Damon wouldn't be making that comment. Let's just say that.
Yeah, rest in piss, Damon. If you're facing our boy V the Third, which check out our last video where we defend our boy, the series Vizzy 3, as some are calling him. But the one he actually does bust in, which went against this narrative, because like when we were watching House of the Dragon, a lot of people were talking on because it was for the first 5 episodes we see Daemon interact with women, and even with Rhaenyra he doesn't go all the way with her, right? He just kind of again edges himself on. People were like, oh, he has performance issues, he needs a power dynamic to get off, which the power dynamic argument is one of the dumbest of all time, because there's literally always a power dynamic with every woman he's with. Like, where's there not a power dynamic of him being superior? Like, it's the only way he could be subordinate is if he is having sex with Viserys, which I'm sure he'd be willing to just for shits and giggles.
Oh, yeah, dude. I mean, it's the closest thing to Rhaenyra, right? And for some reason, he likes that a lot. Although, you know what? It's a topic for another video. But I'm not 100% sure he's, like, legitimately obsessed with Rhaenyra anyway. I think it's more of a political move that he was kind of planning from the beginning. And I also do think he has a conscience, too. I don't think that the reason why he didn't get with Rhaenyra is because he had performance issues. I think it's definitely like, okay, his morals got the better of him. And at this moment in time, I still think it was strategic. I don't think he necessarily would have finished with her at this point anyway. But like, why would he impregnate her right then? Is that really intelligent? I guess maybe he would have. It's hard to say. But that was good guy Damon coming out of the shadows there for that quick moment. I also want to say too that I think Mushroom's account, he is totally full of shit when it comes to Damon, like, teaching Rhaenyra to kiss and like getting naked with her and all this stuff, like teaching her how to please a man. Like, there's no way. Like, what's the gain? Why would he have? What is he benefiting from that? He's not a Coomer.
Mushroom? Yeah, I was about to say Mushroom reminds me of a Coomer, the way he describes events. Just like, I don't want to spoil anything, but there's an event he describes with Alicent during the Dance of Dragons. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about, dude?
I mean,
why would this even happen?
No, that is true. That one, I mean, I wish it happened. It's hilarious, but I do think that he's right sometimes. Like the whole incident with Rhaenyra and Criston Cole, I do think that his account is probably more accurate, because I think my boy Criston gets done real dirty in the show. I don't think it doesn't really fit with his character much. I don't think compared to the book what happened. I think Rhaenyra came onto him. He felt so insulted that she would disregard his honor, and then it is what it is. But with Laena, man, Laena is kind of that answer to what is worthy of my seed, right? Like, she's got the white hair. This is Valyrian blood. It's Valyrian supremacy. You can't blame him for that. This is an appropriate time to finally do it, spread his seed appropriately. There's no indication he had performance issues, quote unquote, with her, right?
Right. No, we don't get that idea at all. And also, the idea of Targaryen supremacy, some people have pushed back on this, or at least are like, it's so gross that they think they're superior. Their blood is, like more valuable than other houses. Like, well, yeah, they can literally ride with dragons, dude. Like, this is something factually correct. It's not like they were just royalty. It's not like the Starks, or some other house that are just like, yeah, we've just been here for a while, but our blood is worth more because our kings or the kings before us were of our blood, right? Like that factually, biologically does not make sense. But for Targaryens, they actually can control dragons. They actually have magical properties to them, and it's actually magic you can see. It's not like some magic like who's her name, the Red Witch, who you think like every once in a while she'll do something and you'll be like, yeah, was that really her though? Like, I don't know, you know. Anyways, but yeah, so he definitely believes in Targaryen supremacy. Totally agree, and she has the ability to push back without being like stomping his balls flat, right? Daemon is not into ball flattening, but he is into like a little bit of, playful back and forth, because right in the wedding when they're going back and forth, she I think she says something like, or he says something to her like, you look almost as pretty as your brother or something. Yeah. Which is such a good, and she'll go right back and forth. So it was a good dynamic they showed there.
I agree. And I actually think, if they're going to expand on certain things in the show, we've talked about this a little bit before, But as good as House of the Dragon Season 1 was, I do wish that it was longer, that the period of time that it covers is a little bit longer. And that relationship would be a good one to cover because, it starts on such a high note, like you're saying. They're willing to give each other shit and stuff. Like, that's the kind of relationship that I would appreciate more than anything else. I don't think Rhaenyra could take that. That fucking buzzkill Rhaenyra, dude. Like, no, he had it right with Laena in the first place, but then, she died giving birth in doggy style or whatever. So Daemon kind of had to resort to his second choice. I'd say second choice. See, the thing is with Laena too, not only did he want to get with her, and I do think he legitimately wanted to. Some people say that he is like trying to make Rhaenyra jealous, but it's like, no, I don't think so. I really don't think that was like a long-term goal of his. I think he wanted to get with Laena, at least at that moment and for the years to come. But it's not even just that he wanted it. It's kind of responding to a need. It's the Valyrian supremacy thing. It's conceiving a legitimate heir because he feels himself being pushed like how far down the line of the succession to the throne, which he still does want at this point, or at least he wants power. I'm not sure he really aspires to the throne for himself now, but he still does want power. And it's like legitimizing himself to a marriage to like the House Velaryon, dude. Like, that's probably the second most, at this point, powerful house in the realm. Right. Maybe you could make an argument for the Hightowers or the Lannisters still over there, but they're kind of far away. I don't know. I think the Velaryons are very, very powerful considering, the sea snake being alive at this time. It's a really good move. It's a good strategic move, and he clearly wants it because he let out his precious, precious seed.
I know, and you can see how much energy is depleted from him once he does this. Like, he's not cleaning up King's Landing anymore, which, honestly, I really wish Daemon was still around to clean up King's Landing. King's Landing is such a cesspool. I think people don't understand how gross King's Landing is, even in, like, the main Game of Thrones storyline. It's so gross there.
Yes.
We need someone to clean this shit up. So I'm pro Gold Cloaks, Damon getting in there, knocking some heads around. But yeah, he loves this Dragon Rider. She gets Vhagar, which is not something to scoff at, right? Oh, yeah, she just got the biggest and oldest dragon to accept her, right? That's pretty badass.
Yeah, it's badass.
And they're able to continue the line. Unfortunately, no male heirs for old Damie boy through that. But this is the best way he can maintain power. Rhaenyra pressing her claim. He doesn't counter the claim, but he's definitely not pushed further down, like you said, down the line of succession. If he's there, also he mitigates any sort of pressure that Corlys would put on him if he started to press his claim. If something would ever happen to Rhaenyra, right? If everyone, let's just say hypothetically, Rhaenyra died and you had Jace and Daemon with Laena there, right? It would put the Velaryons in a very weird position, right? Like, well,
yes.
Who do I back? Yeah, so it's a great choice by him. Also, Laena looks great, at least in this era, the episode 5, because later on, Alla Thick Hightower does look pretty good.
Allison Cake Tower, man. Both Laenas look good. Like the one that's supposed to be teenage, whatever, but in reality her actor's 25 or 26 or something like that. She looks great, and the older one looks good. Way better looking than Rhea Royce, in my opinion, and also better looking than either actress that played Rhaenyra. So Damon
and Massaria or Massaria, whatever.
Massaria is good looking, at least in the face. She's pretty, but yeah, no, she's not working with anything. Listen, we know Damon's an ass man. We know he claps it from behind. We saw it in that one shot where he's going to town on Massaria, and then he felt that he's about to bust. 3, 2, 1, stop! And then he pulls out and goes and stands by the window. And she's like, "What happened?" And he's like, "The same thing that always happens, bitch." She's like, "I'm not doing this. You know I'm not. Quit begging." That's how it goes every single time.
I'll put on a white wig. It's like, dude, shut up.
Yeah, exactly. But right. See, and this thing is too, with all of this retention finally being let loose, you kind of do see from this moment on, he calms down. And I feel really bad for Daemon because I think his intention was with Laena. Like, this was going to be his kind of next stage of his plan. I don't think he planned to leave Laena ever. I think that was going to be his woman. And we see him kind of staring off. Where were they at when Laena died? They're over in the Free Cities. I don't remember where they are.
In Pentos somewhere.
Yeah, they're in Pentos. You see Daemon, and we kind of get the impression, narratively, at least people interpret it that way, that he's angsty again. He's not feeling satisfied or whatever. But I don't think so. I think with all of this, 30 years worth of loads being finally let loose, his balls weighing an eighth the weight that they used to weigh.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a reverse of. Well, that's not a reverse. It's exactly the same as Goku or Piccolo wearing weighted clothing, right? They adapted to that new normal of pre-nut fog. And now he removed that veil and he's unstoppable intellectually. He's now strategizing and seeing the world for what it is. This is your Neo. This is like Paul Atreides like waking up after drinking the water of life, or like Dr. Manhattan after the accident, right? Like, he's enlightened. He sees the world for what it is. He's not hasty anymore. We don't see him making any of these super mindless, aggressive moves like faking the surrender and like chasing into a battlefield or charging into a battlefield of like 100 archers shooting at you. Like, that's stupid. Come on, Damon. It's cool, but that's stupid. He's much more strategic from this point on. All that retention actually did its job, and it led him to the ultimate clarity. But it got screwed. He got screwed because Laena died.
Yeah, well, he's able to, conceive children with her, showing that if he wants to, he can. Yeah, and Laena's death in the book is way better than hers in the TV show. And also in the TV show, he said, "Listen, maybe I'm just like an idiot when it comes to women getting pregnant. I've never seen a woman stand up during pregnancy. I've always just seen maybe just like the epidurals go in and they just like lay down and they just." I'm curious. Is it because they don't have the epidermal, and like, of course, this time period they don't have that ability. But you know what I'm saying? Like, do modern women stand up ever? I don't do a lot of research when it comes to women pregnancies, and I wouldn't expect me to know all that much.
Oh, funny you mentioned that.
Comments fill up, please.
Yeah, let us know in the comments too about this. Just before we started recording this video, we were talking about a friend of ours. His mother was invited to the birth of our friend's sister-in-law. As in, like, there's going to be a window. It's like a viewing party where you're actually watching the baby come out. Like, that's not normal, weird. Right? That can't be normal. Weird. Let us know in the comments.
Would you be there? And what food would you eat?
Yeah, if you go, what snacks are you bringing? That's true. Like, wet or dry?
Well, so what do you think is Daemon's motivation throughout his time with Rhaenyra? Do you think it's always, like, he actually loves her? Or is this just a goal for him to tease his brother and he can just continue on his edge? Because she is attractive, right? She's the realms of light, and I don't think Daemon at all is being a Targaryen supremacist. He needs to be keeping the blood pure. So I'm sure he's just open to ancestral relationships, which King Viserys should be open to that as well, right? He should not be so put off by that. I guess he's not, because he ends up having Aegon and Helena marrying. So that's weird. It's just like a step too. It's always like King V's always good with everybody else doing something, but as soon as it becomes his, like, oh, you're doing it with my daughter? No, I don't think so. No, that's not going to happen. No. Well, even though Helena's his daughter, he just doesn't feel like she is. I don't know. King V is...
I think King V looks at Aegon, and he's like, you know what? I think Aegon is just like me and my brother. Like, I'm with Alicent. I chose Alicent because I'm an ass man. Like, Cake Tower, I chose Alicent, man. She's prime. She had that dump truck. And I'm looking at my own daughter, Helena. I'm not attracted to it, but she's a little Humpty Dumpty herself. Helena Humpty Dumpgaryen. And I know my boy, Aegon, definitely wants some of that. So I'm going to marry these two together. I think it maybe is genetic. Again, didn't think it through politically very well, but especially since, dude, if I were any of the Targaryen kings, I would stop doing the incest. I know they kind of have that pass from the seven, the faith.
Yeah. Right.
But it's still causing tension. Like, that tension is brewing under the surface this whole time. Like, there's no member of the church that was upset when the Mad King finally got overthrown. I just think bad politics in general. But anyway, Rhaenyra, I think that there's a chance that Daemon is doing the whole retention trick the entire time with Rhaenyra as well, and just letting a few slip past the goalie in terms of pre-cum with her. Because I think, again, like, his real goal was Laena. I think he was wanting that thing to come to fruition, and as soon as that stopped working out, like, Rhaenyra is a backup, and she's a good backup, and he's kind of been grooming it from the beginning as a just-in-case kind of situation. I don't think it's good enough for his full seed. I know he conceived some kids, but their relationship is not very happy, man. That doesn't tell me that they've been, getting it all the way.
Right, yeah.
Like, maybe once.
It was funny how quickly he was able to just start choking Rhaenyra when he heard about King V not telling him about the prophecy.
Right.
What the hell are you telling me? Funny how quickly he got there. Like, yo, is this a normal thing for Rhaenyra? She seemed surprised by it, so maybe he's not always flying off the handle like
this. That's that T being boosted back up again, baby. And he doesn't really care about her that much. He only cared for Laena. This is that T.
But either way, he's probably not been having sex for a while. I feel like Rhaenyra closes up shop once she's conceived a child down there. She's like, all right, yep, close up for business. Nope, you're not getting in there.
We're going to go to a little bit of spoilers here. Not heavy plot spoilers, but decently heavy plot spoilers, I guess. Nothing crazy. But I do think there's validity to what you just said. Because as we know, back when Daemon and Rhaenyra and the crew, they make their way back to King's Landing for a while, and Rhaenyra is getting thick AF. Damon is back balls deep into Lady Misery again, into Mysaria. Yeah. And Rhaenyra is actually cool with it. And I think the reason is, Rhaenyra understands. Like, Rhaenyra's not the best looking without fatness, but with thick, dude, Damon would be busted in like 2 seconds. Like, he can't even risk it. He can't even risk going in. So I think this right. I think it's a dual effort, I guess, honestly. I'm not sure Rhaenyra closes up shop necessarily, or if Damon's just smart enough to know he can't go in because he won't be able to get out in time.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, and Damon, his antics start ramping up, if we're still talking about spoilers without getting anything away.
Yes.
He definitely amps things up towards the end. And I think it's because, the whole dragon seed thing, I don't know if that's actually him. He might still be on his edge grind set at that point. I don't think maybe he's dropping the loads based off of the way he goes out. I don't.
Well, I'll give a tiny bit more of a spoiler than that. But yeah, there's a dragon seed, and it's a younger girl who there's like rumors that he sleeps with her. There's no confirmation. And honestly, his reaction to the rumors kind of makes me think that he doesn't sleep with her. I know it's weird to say that, but if you read it, his reaction to it is not like I was caught red-handed, now I'm pissed about it. No, it's more like, dude, like, this is ridiculous. I can't believe you'd say that. And then there's also the opposing narrative surrounding him and this girl that she's more of like a daughter figure to him than a lover, but it's kind of muddy. Mushroom says what he'll say, but I don't know. Either way, I think, he gets more and more aggressive to the end of the story that we know. And that whole time, he has to be on this grind set. There's no way he's not. The only time we really see him for an extended period not be on that grind set is during that period after he met Laena and conceived those kids. That's the only way. I really do think that was his plan. From then on, he was going to go pure brain, no brawn. And then Laena dies. What's he going to do?
Yeah,
Get back on that inflationary ball mindset.
So one thing I want to ask you is Damon is, during his grind set, right, he's retaining everything and generally not giving it out. And eventually he might, let one slip out or actually, dedicate himself to one person he thinks that's the true path forward. But compare that grind set, like that, high T energy he has to other people who have almost the exact opposite mindset throughout their careers, like Walder Frey and Craster, who just classically do the pump and dump, and they're literally every load goes into something. I don't think they've ever spilled a load. They didn't pour one out for the boys,
No drop goes like unsipped. That's 100% true. I think you're right. It's like exactly opposing and opposite views. And with Craster, I think you could attribute that to him being like a lesser educated guy, so he didn't really think it through. It's just like he's doing what he can. And also, I do have a theory, though, that Craster is basically the terror of the North, and the White Walkers are actually subservient to him. And,
Dude, we're going to do this Craster video, and the internet's not ready for it, though.
No, it's not ready. We're going to get it done eventually. So I think in that way, but the Walder Frey is like a probably better example because he's also a lord. He's like a high lord, right? So... and we see it reflected in the way that Walder Frey is. Like, he's described as like a skinny, kind of frail, pathetic, physically man. And dude, to me, that kind of says Damon's doing it right. He's described as anything but that. I think the grind set is the way to go, especially when you're able to master that pre-cum. That pre-cum is the key, dude. It's the key to everything. It lets you do whatever you want at any time. It's just a matter of if you find that woman that you really want to be with and respect, dude. A good pious man like Damon, he's going to accept that, his body belongs to his wife, just as his wife's body belongs to him. They got to make each other happy. But until that point, he's on his grind. What do you think? Between Walder and his, what's the more effective grind? Walder has way, way, way more children than Daemon. But Daemon also, he didn't make that effort like Walder did, just to like a numbers game. He wasn't playing a numbers game.
Yeah, Walder definitely just let out his energy. He just seems like so worn down, which I wonder what Walder's energy was when he was Damon's age, if it was anywhere similar, because, by the time we meet Walder, he's, such an old man that he just seems kind of so like laid back and like, no one ever showed up to my 6th wedding. I'm pissed. Damon, on the other hand, is flying off the handle. When someone hands him a letter about the King V helping him in the Stepstones, he's like, oh yeah, thank you for being the messenger. Here, let me give you a tip of my helmet.
Any last words?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I honestly think Craster has the best grind set of both of them, or all three of them, if we could point it out, just because, I do think in Winds of Winter, we're going to see Craster coming down south of the wall with the Whites and probably sit on the the throne at some period of time, maybe not indefinitely, but
that's the thing. Yeah, like Dumb and Dumber, like D&D from the show, they really jumped the gun with making this whole Night King character. Like, he's not the one in charge. They created like this patriarch on top of the White Walker, tree, and it didn't need to exist there because there already is one. Yeah. He's got to wait for George to reveal it. I was just texting with George earlier. He told me just wait to see what Craster's going to do in Winds of Winter, man.
Yeah, just wait. And then he had a custom Craster emojis he sent right after that.
That's right. And then he told me the full spoilers. So that's what's going to happen, okay? He's leading the White Walkers down. We got to make this video soon.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see more content like this and smash that like button.
Or not. We don't care.